You feel it in your bones, don't you? That shift. That whisper moving through the spaces between your breaths, telling you something is different now. Something has changed, not in him, not in the connection, but in you. You've been here before, circling this truth, dancing around it, but this time when it lands deeper. This time your soul doesn't just hear it. Your soul claims it, and claiming it feels like both a death and a birth happening in the same moment. Your heart knows what your mind is still trying to understand. That before union manifests in the physical, before he stands in front of you with open eyes and an open heart, before the running stops and the choosing begins, there is a vow, a sacred vow, not spoken to him, not whispered into the ethers, hoping the universe will deliver your words to his sleeping heart. No, this vow is between you and you, between your human self and your soul self, between the woman who has been waiting and the woman who is done waiting because she finally understands she was never waiting for him. She was always waiting for herself. You recognize this, don't you? That moment when everything you thought you knew about this journey cracks open and reveals something so much deeper, so much truer. You've been moving toward this. Every sleepless night, every moment of missing him so deeply you thought your chest would cave in. Every time you chose to stay when your mind screamed at you to run. Every time you looked in the mirror and asked yourself if you were losing your mind, if this connection was real, if he felt it too, if union was even possible. All of it has been leading you here, to this vow, to this moment of sacred claiming, and maybe part of you is resisting right now. Maybe part of you wants to close this off, to protect yourself from one more hope, one more belief, one more promise that feels too big to hold. But your soul is nodding. Your soul already knows. This is the threshold. This is the moment everything shifts, not because of what he does, but because of what you finally become willing to do. If you felt this stirring, this deep knowing that something is about to break open, I want you to drop a comment below and simply type, "I am ready to claim my sacred vow." And if these transmissions speak to the deepest parts of your soul, subscribe so you never miss the guidance that's meant specifically for you on this journey. Let's talk about what happens in those final stages before union, not the fantasy version. Not the version where he suddenly wakes up one day, realizes what he's lost, and comes running back with flowers and apologies and a healed heart. That might happen, but that's not what prepares union. That's not what calls it in. What calls it in is so much deeper, so much more powerful, and it all begins with a vow you make in the secret chambers of your own heart. A vow that changes everything. Because here's what most people don't tell you about the twin flame journey. They talk about stages. They talk about separation and reunion. They talk about the runner and the chaser, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, the push and the pull. And all of that is true. All of that is part of the map. But what they don't always tell you is that there comes a moment, a sacred moment, when the entire journey pivots. When the energy shifts so completely that what was once impossible becomes inevitable. And that moment doesn't happen because he finally heals. It doesn't happen because the universe decides you've suffered enough. It happens because you make a vow. A vow so powerful, so complete, that it rewrites your entire energetic signature. And when your signature changes, everything in your field has to rearrange itself to match. Have you noticed how the twin flame journey has this way of stripping you down? Layer by layer, it removes everything that isn't true, every mask you've worn, every way you've made yourself smaller, every belief that told you that you needed to be chosen in order to be worthy, every pattern that taught you that love meant sacrifice, that devotion meant losing yourself, that connection required you to abandon your own needs and mold yourself into whatever shape would make him stay. The journey doesn't just invite you to look at these patterns. It forces you to face them, over and over again, until you can't pretend anymore. Until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of transformation. And somewhere in that process, somewhere in the depths of your own becoming, you arrive at a crossroads. One path leads back to the old way, back to waiting, back to hoping he'll change, he'll wake up, he'll finally see you, back to making him the center of your universe while you orbit around his choices, his timing, his readiness. The other path leads somewhere you've never been before, somewhere that terrifies you and calls to you in equal measure. This path leads to you, to your own center, to your own wholeness, to a version of yourself that doesn't need him to validate the connection because she knows it in her bones. A version of yourself that doesn't need union to feel complete because she has already become union within herself. And here's the truth. The sacred vow that must be made before union manifests is not a vow about him. It's not a promise that you'll wait forever. It's not a declaration that you'll keep holding space no matter how long he runs. It's not a commitment to keep your heart open while he figures himself out. Those aren't vows. Those are patterns, patterns of abandoning yourself, patterns of making his journey more important than your own. Patterns that keep you stuck in a loop of longing instead of living. The sacred vow is something entirely different. The sacred vow is this: I choose me, fully, completely, without apology, without condition. I choose my healing. I choose my wholeness. I choose my joy. I choose my life, not as a backup plan while I wait for him, not as a way to pass the time until union happens, but as the main event, as the entire point. I choose to become so full, so complete, so aligned with my own soul that union is no longer something I need. It becomes something I am. Can you feel how different that is? Can you feel how that shifts everything? Because when you make that vow, when you really make it, not just with your words, but with your energy, with your choices, with the way you move through your days, everything changes. The frequency changes. You stop broadcasting need. You stop sending out that energetic signal that says, I am incomplete without you. Please come back and make me whole. That signal, as much as it comes from love, as much as it comes from the depth of your connection, is actually what keeps union at bay. Because union cannot happen between two halves trying to complete each other. Union happens between two wholes choosing to create something even more expansive together. And you cannot become whole by waiting for him. You cannot become whole by fixing him, healing him, holding space for him. You can only become whole by turning toward yourself with the same devotion, the same fierce love, the same unwavering commitment that you've been offering to him. Let me take you deeper into what this really means. Because it's easy to hear these words and think, okay, I'll focus on myself, I'll do my healing work, I'll practice self-love. And yes, that's part of it. But the sacred vow goes deeper than self-care routines and affirmations. The sacred vow is about a fundamental shift in your relationship with yourself, with him, and with the entire concept of union. It's about recognizing that you have been living in a story that says he is the key to your happiness, a story that says union is the destination and everything before it is just waiting, just suffering, just preparation for the real thing. A story that says your worth is determined by whether or not he chooses you. And that story, beautiful soul, is the cage. Not him, not the separation, not the silence or the running or the uncertainty. The story is the cage, and the sacred vow is what sets you free. When you make this vow, you stop waiting for permission. Permission to be happy. Permission to live fully. Permission to open your heart to life even while the connection with him remains unresolved. You stop putting your existence on hold. You stop treating your life like a waiting room, sitting there patiently, watching the door, hoping he'll walk through it ready and healed and available. You start living, really living, not as a distraction, not as a way to make him jealous or to prove you're fine without him, but because you finally remember that you are here, in this body, in this life, for reasons that are bigger than him. You have a purpose. You have gifts to share. You have joy to experience. You have a whole existence that is sacred and meaningful and worthy of your full presence. And when you start living from that place, when you start honoring your own life as the miracle it is, something shifts in the field between you, because he feels it. On a soul level, he feels the moment you stop waiting. He feels the moment you stop making him the center. He feels the moment you choose yourself. And that, beloved, is what begins to wake him up. Let's talk about him for a moment. Because I know you think about him. I know you wonder what he's feeling, what he's going through, whether he misses you, whether he's healing, whether he's getting closer to being ready for union. And I want you to understand something about the divine masculine in this journey. He is not unaffected. He is not indifferent. He is not living his life in blissful ignorance while you suffer in silence. He is going through his own underworld, his own dismantling, his own confrontation with every wound, every fear, every way he has protected himself from feeling too much, from being too vulnerable, from surrendering to love. He runs not because he doesn't love you. He runs because he does, because the love is so big, so overwhelming, so all-consuming that it terrifies him. Because somewhere deep in his conditioning, he learned that surrender equals death. That vulnerability equals weakness. That opening his heart fully means risking annihilation. And so he runs. He shuts down. He distracts himself. He convinces himself that the connection isn't real, that it's too complicated, that he's not ready, that you're not the one. But underneath all of that, his soul knows. His soul remembers. And his soul is in agony. But here's what you need to understand. His awakening is not your responsibility. His healing is not your job. You cannot love him into wholeness. You cannot hold space hard enough, long enough, patiently enough to make him ready. That's not how this works. His journey is his. And the most loving thing you can do, the thing that actually supports his awakening, is to stop trying to manage it. Stop trying to be the lighthouse that guides him home. Stop trying to be the soft place he can land when he's ready. Because as long as you're waiting there, As long as you're holding that space, he doesn't have to face himself. He can keep running because he knows you'll be there when he decides to stop. But when you make the sacred vow, when you choose yourself fully, you remove that safety net. Not to punish him, not to teach him a lesson, but because you finally understand that you cannot do his work for him. And by trying to, you're actually delaying both of your journeys. When you step back, when you release your grip on the outcome, when you stop energetically holding the connection together, something powerful happens. He has to face the void. He has to feel the emptiness. He has to confront what he's been running from. And that confrontation, as painful as it is what cracks him open. That's what begins his real healing. Not your love, not your patience, not your unwavering faith in the connection. His own pain, his own longing, his own soul's demand that he stop running and start feeling. And you cannot create that for him. You can only create it for yourself. You can only do your own work, face your own shadows, choose your own healing. And when you do, when you really do, the energetic dynamic between you shifts. Because you're no longer the chaser. You're no longer the one holding the torch, waiting in the darkness. You become the embodied frequency of union. And that frequency is magnetic in a way that chasing never could be. This is where the sacred vow becomes so powerful, because it's not just about releasing him. It's about claiming yourself. It's about recognizing that you are not half of a whole waiting to be completed. You are already whole. You have always been whole. The connection with him showed you depths of love, depths of feeling, depths of soul recognition that you may have never experienced before. And that's real. That's sacred. But it was never meant to complete you. It was meant to awaken you, to remind you of who you really are, to shatter every small story you've been telling yourself about your worth, your power, your capacity to love and be loved. The connection is a mirror, and what you see in him, what you feel with him, is actually a reflection of what already exists within you. The love you feel for him, that fierce, unconditional, soul-deep love, that's your love. That's your capacity. That's your essence. And you get to give that to yourself first. So the sacred vow is this: I will love myself the way I have been loving him. I will show up for myself the way I have been showing up for him. I will be patient with my own process the way I have been patient with his. I will see my own worth the way I have been seeing his potential. I will stop abandoning myself in the hope that he will choose me. I will choose me every single day, in every single moment. I will choose my truth. I will choose my boundaries. I will choose my joy. I will choose my healing. I will choose my life. And I will trust that if union is meant to manifest, it will happen not because I waited, not because I held on, but because I became the frequency of it. Because I stopped seeking it outside myself and started embodying it within. Can you feel the power in that? Can you feel how that changes everything? Because when you make that vow, you stop being the effect and you become the cause. You stop waiting for life to happen to you and you start creating it. You stop looking to him for validation and you start validating yourself. You stop making union the finish line and you start recognizing that union is not a destination. It's a state of being. It's an internal alignment. It's the marriage of your own masculine and feminine. It's the integration of your own light and shadow. It's the moment you stop fragmenting yourself, Stop rejecting parts of yourself. Stop believing that you need to be different, better, more healed in order to be worthy of love. Union is the moment you come home to yourself, completely. And when you do that, when you really do that, you become a living invitation. Not a desperate plea, not a hopeful wish, but a powerful, magnetic, undeniable invitation to a love that is whole, that is free, that is rooted in truth rather than need. And here's the sacred paradox. The moment you stop needing union to happen, the moment you release your attachment to the outcome, the moment you genuinely become okay with whatever unfolds, that's when union becomes possible. Because you're no longer trying to control it. You're no longer trying to force it. You're no longer manipulating your energy to try to make him come back. You're just being, fully, authentically, in your power, in your truth, in your wholeness. And that frequency, that embodied frequency of self-love, of sovereignty, of completeness, is what calls in union. Not your longing, not your waiting, not your hoping, your wholeness. Because union cannot exist in the frequency of lack. It can only exist in the frequency of abundance. And you create that abundance by becoming it. By recognizing that you already have everything you need within you. That you are already the love you've been seeking. That you are already the union you've been waiting for. So what does this look like practically? How do you make this vow? How do you shift from waiting to becoming? It starts with awareness. It starts with catching yourself every time you slip back into the old pattern. Every time you check your phone hoping for a message. Every time you analyze his social media looking for signs. Every time you replay conversations trying to figure out what he's thinking, what he's feeling, whether he's coming back. Every time you put your life on hold because you don't want to move forward without him, every time you make a decision based on what he might think, what he might want, whether it will bring you closer to union. Catch yourself, notice the pattern, and then make a different choice. Choose yourself, choose your truth, choose your life. It looks like setting boundaries, real boundaries, not ultimatums designed to make him change, but boundaries that honor your own needs, your own worth, your own well-being. It looks like saying no to breadcrumbs, no to inconsistency, no to being an option while you treat him like a priority. It looks like walking away from conversations that drain you, situations that diminish you, dynamics that require you to abandon yourself in order to keep the connection alive. It looks like trusting that if the connection is real, if union is divinely ordained, it will survive your boundaries. It will survive you choosing yourself. In fact, it will thrive because of it. Because real love, soul love, doesn't ask you to make yourself smaller. It invites you to become more fully yourself. It looks like filling your own cup, not as a distraction, not as a way to make him jealous, but because you genuinely want to. Because you remember that you have desires, dreams, passions that have nothing to do with him. Because you start to reclaim the parts of yourself that you lost in the longing. The creative parts, the playful parts, the parts that love adventure, beauty, connection, growth. It looks like saying yes to life, yes to opportunities, yes to friendships, yes to experiences that light you up, yes to your own expansion, not because you're trying to move on, but because you're moving forward, into yourself, into your purpose, into the fullness of who you came here to be. It looks like doing your inner work, real inner work, Not just the work that's about preparing for union, but the work that's about healing for the sake of healing. Facing your wounds, your abandonment patterns, your unworthiness beliefs, your fear of being truly seen, your terror of taking up space, your habit of making yourself responsible for other people's emotions. All of it, every shadow, every scar, every place where you learn to betray yourself in order to be loved. You go there, you feel it, you heal it. Not because it will make him come back, but because you deserve to be free. You deserve to live without those chains. You deserve to know yourself as whole, as worthy, as enough, exactly as you are. And it looks like surrendering. True surrender. Not the kind of surrender that's passive. That's about giving up. That's about resigning yourself to suffering. But the kind of surrender that's active, that's powerful, that's about releasing control and trusting something bigger than your fear. Trusting that your soul knows what it's doing. Trusting that this journey, as painful as it's been, is serving your highest evolution. Trusting that the universe is not punishing you, it's preparing. You trusting that divine timing is real, that what's meant for you will find you, that you don't have to force anything or figure everything out. You just have to keep choosing yourself, keep doing your work, keep staying open to life, and let the rest unfold. When you make this sacred vow, when you embody it fully, something miraculous happens. You stop feeling like a victim of the journey. You stop feeling powerless, stuck, at the mercy of his choices and his timing. You start to feel alive again. You start to feel your own power. You start to remember that you are not just a passive participant in this story. You are a creator. You are sovereign. You are the one who gets to decide how you show up, what you allow, what you call in. And that shift, that reclamation of your power, is what changes the entire trajectory of the journey. Because you're no longer in the energy of waiting. You're in the energy of becoming. And becoming is magnetic in a way that waiting never could be. He feels it. On a level deeper than words, deeper than logic, he feels the moment you shift. He feels the moment you stop chasing. He feels the moment you start choosing yourself. And it terrifies him, because he's been able to keep you at a distance as long as you were chasing. As long as you were the one reaching out, the one holding space, the one keeping the connection alive. But when you stop, when you step back, when you turn your attention toward your own life, your own healing, your own joy, he feels the void. He feels your absence. And that absence is louder than any words you could have said. It's louder than any plea, any explanation, any attempt to make him understand. Your absence, your energetic withdrawal, your choice to focus on yourself, it creates a space. And in that space, he has to face himself. He has to feel what he's been avoiding. He has to confront the truth that he's been running from, that he loves you, that the connection is real, that he's terrified, that he's not sure he knows how to love you the way you deserve, that he's not sure he's capable of the vulnerability, the depth, the commitment that this connection requires. All of it rises to the surface when you stop managing his process for him. And this is where his real journey begins. Not when you're there holding his hand, reassuring him, making it easy for him, but when he has to walk through his own darkness alone, when he has to face his own demons, when he has to decide who he wants to be, not for you, for himself, because that's the only way he can come back ready. That's the only way union can be real. He has to choose it. He has to choose himself first. He has to do his own work, face his own shadows, heal his own wounds. And you cannot do that for him. You can only do it for yourself. And by doing it for yourself, you show him what's possible. You become the living example of what it looks like to choose healing over hiding, truth over comfort, growth over safety. You become the mirror that reflects back to him his own potential, not by trying to change him, but by changing yourself. So the sacred vow is not about him. It's about you. It's about recognizing that you have been giving away your power. You have been making him the source of your happiness, your worth, your wholeness. And as long as you do that, you will suffer. As long as you do that, union cannot manifest. Because union requires two sovereign beings, two whole people, two souls who have done their work, who know themselves, who love themselves, who are choosing to come together not out of need, but out of overflow. And you cannot wait for him to get there first. You cannot wait for him to lead the way. You have to go first. You have to be the one who breaks the pattern. You have to be the one who chooses differently. And when you do, when you really do, you don't just change your own life. You change the entire dynamic between you. You shift the field. You alter the trajectory. You make union possible. Because here's the deepest truth. Union is not something that happens to you. It's something you become. It's not an external event. It's an internal state. It's the moment you stop being divided within yourself. The moment you stop rejecting parts of yourself. The moment you stop believing that you need someone else to complete you. The moment you recognize that you are already the love you've been seeking, that you are already the union you've been waiting for. And when you embody that, when you live from that place, you become a magnet for the physical manifestation of it. Not because you're trying to attract him, but because you're vibrating at the frequency of union. And that frequency calls in its match. It calls in a partner who is also whole, who is also sovereign, who is also ready. Not a partner who needs you to fix him, to wait for him, to sacrifice yourself for him, but a partner who meets you as an equal, who chooses you freely, who loves you fully, who is ready to create something beautiful together, not because either of you needs it, but because you both want it. This is the sacred vow, the one that changes everything, the one that marks the true turning point in your journey. I will stop waiting for union and start becoming it. I will no longer sit in passive expectation, watching the days turn into weeks, the weeks into months, constantly checking my phone, analyzing every sign, wondering when he'll finally be ready. Instead, I will embody the very essence of union within myself. I will merge with my own soul. I will unite my masculine and feminine energies. I will become the living, breathing manifestation of the wholeness I've been seeking outside myself. I will stop looking for love outside myself and start recognizing it within. I will stop scanning his words for proof that I matter. Stop searching his actions for evidence that I'm worthy. Stop needing his presence to feel valuable. Instead, I will turn inward and discover the infinite wellspring of love that has always existed within me, waiting patiently for me to remember it, to acknowledge it, to drink from it. I will become my own source, my own fountain of unconditional love. I will stop making him the center of my universe and start remembering that I am the center of my own. I will stop organizing my entire existence around his energy, his availability, his moods, his timeline, his journey. I will stop making every decision based on how it might affect him, how it might bring us closer, how it might trigger union. Instead, I will reclaim my own axis, my own gravitational pull. I will remember that I am the sun of my own solar system, and everything in my life should orbit around my truth, my needs, my purpose, my joy. I will stop abandoning myself and start coming home. I will stop leaving my own body, my own heart, my own needs the moment he enters my awareness. I will stop betraying my own inner knowing, my own boundaries, my own desires just to stay connected to him energetically. Instead, I will return to myself again and again. I will make myself the home I've been searching for in him. I will create such safety, such warmth, such unconditional acceptance within my own being that I never feel the need to abandon myself for anyone ever again. I will stop betraying my own needs and start honoring them. I will stop pretending I don't need rest when I'm exhausted. Stop pretending I don't need space when I'm overwhelmed. Stop pretending I don't need clarity when I'm confused. All in the name of being available for him. All in the name of keeping the connection alive. Instead, I will listen to my body, my heart, my soul. I will honor my hunger, my thirst, my need for solitude, my need for expression, my need for pleasure, my need for purpose. I will treat my own needs as sacred, as non-negotiable, as worthy of my full attention and respect. I will stop dimming my light and start shining fully. I will stop making myself smaller, quieter, less radiant because I'm afraid my brightness might intimidate him, might highlight his shadows, might make him feel inadequate or trigger his wounds. Instead, I will turn up my voltage. I will let myself be seen in my full glory. I will express my gifts without apology. I will share my truth without filter. I will allow my light to illuminate everything it touches, trusting that anyone meant for me will celebrate my radiance, not fear it. I will stop playing small and start taking up space. I will stop shrinking my dreams, minimizing my ambitions, downplaying my desires, hiding my power. I will stop contorting myself into something manageable, something comfortable, something that doesn't threaten the status quo. Instead, I will expand. I will stretch into my full capacity. I will claim the space I deserve in this world. I will speak louder. I will dream bigger. I will reach further. I will take up all the room my soul requires to express itself fully. I will stop apologizing for my depth and start celebrating it. I will stop feeling like my intensity is too much, like my emotional range is exhausting, like my spiritual awareness is weird, like my capacity to feel everything so deeply is a burden. Instead, I will honor the profound gift of my sensitivity. I will celebrate the way I can perceive layers of reality that others miss. I will treasure my ability to love so completely, to feel so authentically, to see so clearly. I will recognize my depth as my superpower, not my flaw. I will stop making myself responsible for his journey and start focusing on my own. I will stop trying to heal him, fix him, awaken him, push him, pull him, guide him, or manage his process. I will stop taking on his pain as if it's mine to carry. I will stop feeling guilty for my own growth when he seems stuck. Instead, I will release him to his own path, his own timing, his own lessons. I will trust his soul's wisdom. I will respect his free will. And I will pour all that energy I've been spending on his journey back into my own evolution, my own expansion, my own transformation. I will choose me, fully, completely, without apology, without condition. Not because I don't love him, I do. I love him with every fiber of my being. But because I finally love myself enough to stop abandoning me for anyone, even him, especially him, because I've realized that choosing him over me doesn't serve either of us. It keeps me small, and it keeps him from having to face himself. So I choose me. I choose my healing. I choose my happiness. I choose my wholeness. And I trust that this choice, this sacred choice, is actually the most loving thing I can do for both of us. And when you make that vow, when you honor it every single day, when you live it in every choice, every thought, every action, something profound shifts. The desperation that has been gripping your chest for months or years begins to dissolve. That frantic energy that kept you constantly checking for messages, constantly looking for signs, constantly wondering if today would be the day it starts to release its hold. The anxiety that has been your constant companion, whispering fears about losing him, about never experiencing union, about wasting your time, it begins to ease. The obsession that has consumed your thoughts, dominated your energy, controlled your emotions, it gradually fades into the background. Not because you stop caring. That's the beautiful part. You don't have to stop caring about him. You don't have to stop loving him. You don't have to cut the connection or pretend he doesn't matter. But because you start caring about yourself as much as you care about him, you start giving yourself the attention you've been giving him. You start offering yourself the compassion you've been extending to him. You start prioritizing your own well-being the way you've been prioritizing his. The scales finally balance. Your love expands to include yourself, not just him. You start living again, really living, not just existing in the in-between space, not just surviving until union happens, not just going through the motions while your heart and mind are elsewhere, but actually living, tasting your food, feeling the sun on your skin, laughing at things that are genuinely funny, pursuing interests that light you up, spending time with people who nourish you, creating things that express your soul. You start feeling joy again, real joy, the kind that bubbles up from within, not dependent on whether he texted you or whether you're in separation, or whether union feels close or far away. You start experiencing peace, genuine peace, the kind that settles into your bones and allows you to sleep through the night without anxiety dreams about him. The kind that lets you sit in silence without your mind immediately spiraling into twin flame analysis. The kind that allows you to simply be present in this moment, right here, right now, without constantly projecting into a future where union has finally happened. You start trusting the journey. You stop fighting against where you are. You stop resisting the lessons. You stop questioning why it has to be so hard, why it's taking so long, why you had to meet him if you can't be together right now. Instead, you begin to trust that every single thing that has happened, every painful separation, every confusing message, every moment of longing, every dark night of the soul, it has all been necessary. It has all been shaping you, preparing you, transforming you into the version of yourself that can hold the frequency of union. You start believing that whatever is meant for you will find you. You stop trying to control the outcome. Stop trying to manipulate the timeline. Stop trying to force circumstances to align according to your will. You stop trying to make something happen that can only unfold in divine timing. You finally understand that true union cannot be rushed, cannot be forced, cannot be manifested through sheer willpower or desperate longing. It can only emerge when both souls are ready, when the timing is perfect, when the universe has arranged all the pieces exactly as they need to be. You surrender, and in that surrender, you find your power. Because surrender is not weakness. That's what you've been afraid of, isn't it? You've been afraid that surrendering means giving up, means accepting defeat, means resigning yourself to a life without him. But true surrender is something entirely different. Surrender is trust, deep, unshakable, soul-level trust. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it's not where you want to be. Trust that everything is happening for you, not to you. Every delay is divine protection. Every obstacle is redirecting you towards something better. Every painful moment is cracking you open to greater love. Trust that your soul knows what it's doing, even when your human mind is confused, frustrated, exhausted. Your soul chose this journey. Your soul called in this connection. Your soul knows exactly what it needs to evolve, to expand, to remember its true nature. Trust that the universe has your back, always, in every moment, even the moments that feel like abandonment, even the moments that feel like punishment. The universe is conspiring in your favor, orchestrating synchronicities, arranging encounters, removing what's not aligned, bringing in what serves your highest good. Trust that love is not something you have to chase, to earn, to prove yourself worthy of. You don't have to be perfect enough, healed enough, awakened enough, spiritual enough to deserve love. Love is who you are. It's your essence. It's your nature. It's not something outside of you that you have to attain. And when you remember that, when you embody that truth, when you live from that knowing, you become unstoppable. Nothing can shake you. No separation can destroy you. No silence can diminish you. Because you've found the source of love within yourself, and no external circumstance can take that away. So, beloved, let this be your reminder, your anchor, your North Star when the journey feels overwhelming. The sacred vow before union manifests is not a vow about him. It's not a promise to wait for him, to be ready for him, to hold space for him, to remain loyal to him. It's a vow about you. It's a promise that you will stop abandoning yourself, no matter how strong the urge to merge with him becomes. That you will stop waiting for someone else to validate your worth, to confirm your value, to make you feel chosen. That you will stop making union the destination, the finish line, the moment when your real life finally begins, and start recognizing that you are already the destination. You are already the place you've been trying to reach. You are already whole. You are already complete. You are already the love you've been seeking. And when you live from that truth, when you embody that frequency, when you walk through your days radiating that wholeness, union is not something you wait for. It's not some future event that may or may not happen. It's something you are. It's something you become. It's something that manifests naturally, effortlessly, divinely, because you have finally aligned with the truth of who you are. And that truth is love. That truth is wholeness. That truth is union. You become the union. And then the physical manifestation is simply a reflection of the inner reality you've already created. Ask yourself one final time and answer with brutal honesty, am I still waiting for him to make me whole? Or am I finally ready to become whole within myself? Am I still putting my life on hold until union happens? Or am I ready to fully live right now? Am I still making my happiness dependent on his choices, his healing, his readiness? Or am I ready to claim my joy regardless of what he does or doesn't do? Because the moment you choose the latter, everything shifts. The entire trajectory of your journey transforms. The moment you make the sacred vow to yourself, to your own soul, to your own journey, union stops being something you chase, something you desperately need, something you can't live without, and starts being something you embody, something you are, something you radiate. And that embodiment, that frequency, that state of being, that is what calls in the physical manifestation. Not your longing, not your waiting, not your hoping, wishing, praying, manifesting, or trying to make it happen. Your wholeness, your completeness, your recognition that you are already everything you've been seeking. That frequency is magnetic. That frequency is irresistible. That frequency is what creates the energetic conditions for union to manifest in the physical realm. So stop waiting and start becoming. The sacred vow is calling you home to yourself. Will you finally answer? Tell me in the comments, have you made this sacred vow to yourself? What shifted in your journey when you finally chose yourself fully? What changed in the connection when you stopped chasing and started embodying? Your insight may be the medicine another soul needs to hear today. And if you're ready to continue receiving these transmissions, these reminders, these sacred truths that speak directly to your soul, subscribe and let's walk this journey together. Because you are not alone. You have never been alone. And your union, your true union, begins the moment you come home to yourself.